What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching today, baby. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Just figured I'd throw a video together for you and share a scary memory from my past opiate addiction years. Before I start this video, I want to pre-apologize. You're likely going to be hearing some jets flying by because they keep going every time I hit this record button on this video. So sorry about that in advance. You'll have to deal with it with me, guys. I live right next to the Hill Air Force Base here, so also, I wanted to let you guys know I'm not a doctor, obviously. Nothing on my channel is medical advice. I'm just simply sharing my experiences with addiction. So seek attention through your doctor if you're struggling with addiction issues. I'm a little bit sick, guys, so bear with me here. So I was just thinking back on my heavier days of opiate addiction, and I have a few guys who I consider my best friends over many years' time, right? And so the guy I'm talking about today was I've been really good friends with for well over 20 years now. We still talk all the time, and we're still really good buddies. So he was kind of the guy I first started getting into opiate addiction with back when I was about 21 years old. We used to take like a Loratab 10 and drink like a beer and drive around, and we just thought that was so cool. And it was obviously crazy and stupid looking back, and I'm never glorifying drug use in any of my videos, guys, so please don't ever take it that way. That's just what we were doing back then. At the time, we would like to like take our lower tabs and drive around and just drive down random roads and find random places to drive. That's really all we ever did. So as I started getting into like more consistent use with opiates, he kind of always would stay like around the same, and I would just kind of start going off the deep end as the years progressed. And I had originally started out with just like a lower tab 10 once a week, and then as I got into my motorcycle accident, I started getting a bunch of painkillers, and then I would eventually progress to Oxy or Roxy 30s. I think they were called the Roxy Blue 30s. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, that was basically the majority of what I used through my heavier years of addiction. And so I progressed to taking heavier doses like that, and he would just kind of stay around the smaller doses and occasionally using them. And one time we were heading out on like a kind of faraway drive. It was like a 3 hour drive. And I gave him one of those Oxy 30s, and he'd never had one before. So his tolerance wasn't that high. And I should have known, like I didn't know that he was keeping his tolerance so low. So, anyways, I was like, "You've tried this before, right?" And he's like, "I don't think so." I was like, "Well, you should be all right. Just take one." So he took one, and we started taking off, and we got pretty far out there, like nowhere near a hospital. We were going on a pretty far. It was like I said, 2 or 3 hour drive, and we kind of just basically call it like space cruising. You know what I mean? Like we thought it was. And thinking back, just it was a very stupid idea, because if something would have happened, like that could have been huge like trouble for us, right? To be doing that. So we were like halfway out in the middle of this trip, way out in the middle of like the desert areas with, I mean, half the time our cell phones weren't even working. And I gave him one, and it almost immediately started kicking in on him. And I'll never forget like looking over at him. He was like, you could tell it was kicking in. He was like, "Man, this feels really good, right?" Or however it went. It feels so weird talking about it because it's been so long. This was well over 10 years ago, this experience that I'm talking about. Um, it just sounds weird to even think that I was doing this kind of stuff. Like it doesn't even, I can't even picture me doing this stuff, but I certainly did this stuff. So I looked over at him, and I could tell it was kicking in, and he was just chilling and kicking back. And he's like, "Holy crap, this is strong." And I was like, "Yeah, it's really strong. All right." I think I took like two of them at the time, so I think I was at like 60 milligrams. And it was literally like 5 minutes later. Like I looked over at him, and he was just like this. He's like, and I was like, because we had the music bumping, and we were just kind of chilling, and I was driving. I wasn't really like focused on him, but he was just like, it looked like he was just like out of it, like not there. And I had never seen that at this time, because it was, I'd never taken been around other people who haven't taken stronger doses like that. And it just scared the heck out of me. I was like, I thought he was messing around at first. I was like, hey. So I like kind of slapped him. I was like, quit mess. I thought he was messing with me, right? Like, just like pretending like it was feeling stronger than it was. And I kept shaking him. I was like, hey. And I started getting really scared because he wasn't, and he's never done anything like pranked me like that before. And I don't see why he would do that now on this particular trip. But he looked like he was lifeless. He looked like he was not breathing. And I was driving 85 miles an hour down the highway. And so I started like slapping his chest. I was like, hey. And I was screaming his name. I don't want to say his name out at him or nothing, but smacking his chest as hard as I could as I'm driving, right? Because I didn't want to pull over and make a scene. And like it was probably 20 seconds into me smacking him, like he was like came to, and then he was like, he opened my door as I'm going 80 miles an hour, and he Ralph's out the side of the car, like some of it got inside my car, and he was like falling out the door, and I was grabbing him as I was driving, and I pulled over to the side, and I was driving a really nice car at the time. And so he was obviously trying to be respectful and not puke in my car. And as I was pulling over, the door slammed the guardrail. So I was like, oh, my car. You know what I mean? But I was also worried about him as well. And then so we cruised right into the next town and like went to the gas station. And I was just like, dude, are you okay? Like, I thought you just died. Like, he might have died for a minute. I don't know. That had to have been an overdose, right? I mean, what do you consider an overdose? I mean, obviously we didn't have Narcan back then. This is back when the drugs were all still real, as far as what we knew anyway. I can't imagine how scary that would be to be doing stuff like that these days with all the fake fentanyl pills that are going around. I've heard that there's like almost exact replicas of the Oxy 30s that we were taking that are now full of fentanyl. So it's got to be a very scary time these days. If you guys are stuck in active opiate addiction, I feel for you. And just know that you're not alone, and that I found my way out of that lifestyle. Um, I have lost a lot of friends who graduated from opiates, like painkiller opiates, to injectable stuff. And you guys have heard me talk about this before. I've lost about 10 friends who were really good people, just they just went down that deeper path, you know, and for whatever reason I could afford my to keep paying the high dollar amount because I was always too afraid to do like any injectable stuff. So thank God I never went down that route, because I probably would be sitting in the ground with them right now dead. So there's a lot of my good friends that have children still to this day that they left behind, and spouses, stuff like that. Like, it's just too many people gone. Luckily, I got out of this lifestyle before all the fake drugs started really hitting the scene. So I'm very thankful to have found Suboxone to find my way out of that lifestyle. Um, yeah, I know a lot of people that are still stuck in that lifestyle. It's a really scary time to be an opiate addict right now. So I believe the last 2 years, like the deaths from opiate overdoses have like tripled or doubled or some crazy number. Like, it's like way up there, guys. So if you're still in that lifestyle now and you have never tried Suboxone or never taken Suboxone, I promise you it will save your life. It will allow you to continue to live your life without going through the withdrawal. So if you're afraid to go to the doctor because you don't want to be labeled a drug dealer, just get it over with. It's not that big of a deal. People do it every freaking day. That was one of the biggest reasons that kept me from going to get my Suboxone from a doctor, was I was so afraid to be labeled in the system, you know. But that's what it's for. And as soon as I went to the addiction doctor and got my prescription the right way, my recovery totally took a turn for the positive side as soon as I did that. So don't be afraid, guys. There's many, many thousands, millions of people struggling with addiction. Suboxone is an excellent tool to save your life and help you get back on the right track. And then whenever the time is right in the future, then you can worry about tapering off of the medication or switching to Sublocade if you decide to as well. So that's really all I wanted to say, guys. Please don't take your friend's life like I nearly did. Get some help. Have your friends get help if they need it. Be there from them. Do whatever you can to get out of this lifestyle, guys, because you're one pill away from death. You're one pill away from getting a felony and ruining your life. There's so many easy things that can happen in that lifestyle. So many things have to go right, but it really only takes one thing to go wrong, and your life can be down a totally different path. So get help, guys. Get your Suboxone if you need it. I tried to cold turkey. I tried to taper off of opiates, and that is nearly impossible to do that. If you're trying to do that, you'll probably fail like I did about 10 times in a row. You really need Suboxone. More than likely, you're going to need Suboxone to help step you down to a more normal life. So that's all I want to say for this video, guys. I'm really thankful that I didn't wipe out my best friend, because I don't know how I could live with myself if I did that. If any of you guys are in that position and that has happened to you, I pray for you, and I'm sorry that happened. And yeah, that's really all I wanted to say, guys. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.